Hello, good evening, everyone. Welcome back to day 2 of our parenting workshop. And as always, it's going to be very impactful. And I am so excited that our one and only guest, the beautiful Sandra, is here with us again today. She was here sometime, she was with us a while back, and she's here today. Let's wait for everyone to join in so that we can run with it. So that we can run. You're welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you to the team, Uche and Co, and to the one and only Somi, our powerhouse at the engine room. Thank you so much, everyone, for, helping to put this together. It's going to be such an awesome time. Today, we're going to be talking about the emotionally intelligent parents. Who is the emotionally intelligent parent? What makes you an emotionally intelligent parent? How can you become an emotionally intelligent parent? I came across a post today on Instagram, and I'd like to read out that post. But before that, I'd like us to say a word of prayer. And Father, we thank you for once again this opportunity to learn. We ask that you come and take absolute control. We ask that everyone who will listen to this session will be blessed. We ask that this will be a life-changing experience for as many that are joining in, and that everything that we do will align, to the will and purpose that you have for every parent, that this session will bring clarity to the minds of as many people that would watch or come on this session. In Jesus' name, amen. This is WiCare Lekota Foundation, an initiative that enlightens women and empowers women to transform society. In WiCare, we do a lot of personal development and training, because we believe that if the mind is working, every other thing is working. We have boys mentoring series, this parenting workshop. We have our empowerment. We have our annual conference that comes up every year in August. So if you missed that, it was such a powerful and impactful event. Look it up on YouTube and watch it. You will definitely learn a lot from that conference. This parenting conference is very close to my heart because, like I said yesterday, the family unit is the most powerful unit on planet Earth. And if we get our parenting right, every other thing about our lives will work. Every other thing about the society will work. Remember, parenting is partnership. Parenting, if done right, will produce, healthy children who will go on to become healthy adults. Some of the behavioral traits that we exhibit, some things that we do, is as a result of things that happened in our childhood, as a result of parenting. And we think that because those things happen, they just, they've happened, so we put them somewhere without realizing that these things have adverse effects, in future. So how do we become better parents? How do we become more emotionally intelligent parents? So I'm going to be reading out, I might not read everything, but it's a post that I saw on Instagram before we bring up our amazing, our beautiful host, our beautiful facilitator. She's here with us, and I'm sure she's going to give us something to take home. Thank you, Sandra, for joining us. We'll be bringing you up shortly. So I'll be reading this particular message. It says, a very sad offshoot of sibling rivalry stemming from sibling comparison. He killed his own brother. Let me just read the beginning. It says, I hired an assassin to kill my brother because our father trusted him more. I arranged my brother's killing because Dad trusted him more than me. If someone had told Kadade that his blood brother would be the mastermind of his death, he wouldn't believe. But that was exactly what happened to him around 11:30 p.m. on March 21st, when his younger brother, Ibrahim, hired some assassins to murder him. According to Ibrahim, who is currently cooling off his heels in the police custody, the only offense Kadade committed is that their father trusted him, Kadade, more than him, Ibrahim. The suspect, 20 years old, was recently arrested by operatives of the Inspector General of Police Intelligence at where he was arrested. Ibrahim and his brother were said to be indigenes of a particular village. And so he stated that he hired assassins with the help of his gang members to kill his brother because their father trusted him more. And he cited that he recently, when their father sold cows worth 1.7 million, the money was kept in Kadade's custody. So apparently this is a story of sibling rivalry. But as an emotionally intelligent parent, you can actually, avoid things like this. You can avoid, sibling rivalry or sibling resentment, or, things that would destroy your children psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and all of that. So without further ado, we will be bringing up our amazing Sandra Oluwadare. Are you there? Please.
Yes, I am. Good evening, sis. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sis. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. How are you too?
I'm fine. I'm just trying to pull up your profile so that anyone watching can identify with your expertise in this area, so that when they are listening with a lot of intent.
But that profile has changed. That profile has upgraded. That profile you.
Are you serious? So I should not read it, but let me shall read this one.
Don't worry, I'm just joking.
Okay, Sandra Oluwadare is a certified parenting coach, child behavior consultant, author, and speaker. She's the founder of Winning in Parenting, a thriving community established to educate parents on how to raise wholesome and well-balanced children. She has worked with over 1,000 parents, both home and abroad, through her one-on-one coaching sessions, parenting courses, books with lots of transformational results. She's the creator of Parenting God's Way curriculum, the convener of Parents in Prayer, and the Made for More bootcamp. Her satisfaction is to see parents bond and connect well with their children. and also enjoy peace, calm, balance in their parenting journey. She is married to her lovely husband with two amazing children. Please make welcome our beautiful Sandra Oluwadari. Our audience are on YouTube, so they are applauding you here on YouTube. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
To go right
Thank
into
you.
the station. My notes is open so that I can start writing.
Thank you so much, Diane. Thank you for the amazing work that you are doing with these amazing women that God has brought to your sphere of influence, these amazing women that you are, impacting in one way or the other. Thank you for contributing your own quota to ensure that they are better for it. Because, I mean, that's what it should be. When people are coming in contact with us, they should be better for it. So thank you so much and well done for the work that you're doing. And I also want to salute especially the amazing people on this call, the women. You are phenomenal. You are grappling with so much, but you are showing up as powerfully as you can. And it is just so amazing. Well done. And thank you so much for taking time out to be here. So, like Diane said, so that profile has been tweaked a number of times, but I don't think that's the most important thing here today. The most important thing is this conversation about being an emotionally intelligent parent. As a result of the work that I do with parents, with families from different cultures, from different climes, I have come to realize that one of the best gifts that you can give your child as a parent is to be emotionally intelligent. It is one of the best things that you can offer your child. And parenting is not just about showing up to provide for your child's physical needs, packing their food in their lunch packs or buying school supplies and all of that. Those are good, those are great, but like I said earlier, a parent who is emotionally intelligent is a gift to their child, is a big plus to their child, because emotional intelligence is one of the factors that will determine the level of connectedness you will have with your child. And everything rises and falls on your connectedness with your child. Whatever it is you want to achieve with your child, it rises and falls on how connected you are. When it comes to discipline, when it comes to, getting them to be influenced by you, when it comes to spiritual mentorship, when it comes to leadership as a parent, if there is no connectedness, there's going to be a gap. The gap is going to continue to widen, right, until what needs to be done is done. And there are things that one should not even wait to happen before you start checkmating those things. And one of those is emotional intelligence. We must understand that connecting with our children emotionally, guiding them, being able to guide them to understand their feelings, being able to lead them to, or being able to teach them to feelings while they're growing up is just bliss. It is beautiful. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly. Now, I want you to understand that parenting, of
Yes,
course, we all know. All right, thank you. Parenting, we all know how demanding it is. I mean, you are stretched in different areas, you are pulled apart. There's so much you need to do. There's a lot of demand for your attention, right? Being a parent is one of the roles that can be very emotionally draining. Parents are lifetime heroes, right? Even the ones that we feel are not doing right. That's in your own eyes. In their own eyes, they are doing their best. And these people need to be celebrated over and over again, because taking care of yourself is a big deal. Not to talk about struggling one person, two people, three children, four, five, and you have to also do every other thing you have to do. You see that you get into a role that is really demanding, placing a huge demand on your emotions. And so intentionality needs to be in place as regards emotional intelligence, because we are not going to show up with excuses to say, okay, because I am pulled in different directions. Oh, when it comes to being mindful of how I react, I can't deal. Please, please, please. I'm tired and all of that. That's a mistake we don't want to make, right? So how then do we juggle everything together? How then do we still function in this capacity as a parent who has so many things to do and still stay regulated when it comes to our emotions? We deal with tantrums. Teenagers are, having outbursts. Children are saying no, you're saying do this, they're saying no, they're defiant. But the thing is, we must understand that we may not like the behavior of the child, but nothing has to label who the child is. Nothing has to change the label of that child. The way God has given you that child, the mandate upon that child's life, what God is expecting from us as seed handlers, because every child is a seed. What God is expecting from us as seed handlers has to be delivered in spite of all of these outbursts, in spite of all of these things that we claim our children do, right? Everything boils down to our level of connectedness. So in spite of all of these things, so how then do we move ahead? This is so important. I'm just trying to lay the foundation to make us understand that this is not an area where we can dilly-dally in, because there's always seed time and harvest. You will either pay now or you pay later. And the way we interact with our children on a daily basis is programming. Whatever you do with your child, whatever you do to your child is programming. You are either programming them positively or you're programming them negatively. There's no gap. There's no vacuum anywhere. If you are always yelling and beating and all of that, that's a form of programming, and you will definitely get your report card. If you're fond of, checking and being conscious and cautious of what you do, that is programming, and you will get your report card as well. So it is important that we understand the terrain that we are navigating. Now, one of the things that, before I go fully into this topic, one of the things that I want us to understand is your goal as a parent needs to be forever before you. You need to keep it. It's not something that you say you have in your mind. Your goal as a parent has to always be in your face. It has to be whether in your computer screen or your phone or somewhere around the house or whatever. It is not something you should forget, because that singular action alone, being able to have that before you, either mentally or physically, just has the way of helping you regulate yourself when you want to cross the line. Because you know that if this is the kind of child I want to raise, there are things I would need to do. I see a lot of parents saying, I want my child to be this or that. But how come we are not bringing that same energy to ourselves to say, okay, if I want my child to be this or that, what do I need to do? If I want to transition into tech, there are things I need to do. I cannot carry my degree as a microbiologist to say, oh, I want to go into tech. Even though I can go into tech, I would need to take certain trainings, right? This is so important. Now we have ideologies about our children. I want to raise royalty. I want to raise my child to be a celebrity, authentic celebrity, or not celebrity that you cannot look at as a role model. I want my child to be this or that. I want my child to be an innovator. I want my child to really manifest as a sign and a wonder. But we are not asking ourselves who we need to become for our children to deliver that outcome. Who do we need to become? You say you want to raise royalty, but we're still shouting the house down You want to call a child who is just close to you, and you have programmed the child in such a way that until you shout, that child is not going to respond. And then we're looking and saying, why can't you behave like a king? Why can't you walk like a king or talk like a king? Are you calling him like a king? Are you treating him like a king? When he makes a mistake, when he breaks a dish or something, do you understand that, okay, that was a mistake? Or do you, just go all out and descend on him? So we also need to take a step backwards and look at what we're doing. How are we really setting these children on that path to deliver the outcome we want to see? Because parenting is leadership. It's not a matter of do what I say, don't do what I do. Before you begin to talk the talk, you must be ready to walk the talk. Before you begin to say, do this or do that, are you doing it? Very important. Are you really living out that example? Very important, because much more than everything that we say as parents, children, there are mirror neurons that connect a child's eyes, right, to their muscles. So you don't even need to talk too much. By watching you, they are learning. So we need to understand these things. So these things are the things that will help us call ourselves to consciousness when we are crossing the line. Because you know that whatever it is you are laying down, you are actually going to get it back. And even the Bible says, you sow a seed, you reap it, a whirlwind. You sow a wind, it's not going to come the way you sowed it. It's going to come. Harvest always comes bountifully, whether good or bad. So this is very important. I want us to understand that every child is a seed. And just like a farmer who understands the seed he is planting, we need to understand the children we have. If you don't understand your child, trust me, you are going to end up damaging something in that child. That's just the truth. If you don't understand who you are dealing with, there are children who have different personality types. Your two children can never be the same. But because of a lack of awareness or maybe understanding, we box them in one place, and then we are comparing them to the other child to say, why is it that when you come back from school, from the door, you fling one shoe, you throw the other one upstairs, but when your sibling comes, they are able to organize their things, they're able to organize their things and all of that. Those two children are not the same. There is nothing wrong with a child that is throwing his shoes from the gate. There's nothing wrong with that child. Both of them just have different personalities, and you need to know how to handle that child that is throwing his shoes from the door. Some children are not organized at all. Those children are not bad. Those children might just be creatives. There are other children who are so organized. You get into their room, they know where they keep their things and all of that. Those are the ones that have analytical mind. Those are the accountants. Those are the ones that do research. Those are the ones that are very detailed. If you have them as your boss, you give them a report, they're going to go through over and over again just to ensure that everything is on point. But the other child who is very scattered, those ones, they are not able to stick with routines. They are not able to finish tasks. Those are the ones that have big, big ideas, but they will never execute. It doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with them. It just means that you need to understand the seed you have. You need to understand the child you have so that you can help that child to still fulfill potential and fulfill destiny in grand style. And this is where emotional intelligence comes in. Because that child, for example, who is always all over the place, scattered, disorganized, you are going to keep shouting, why can't you be like your brother? Why can you not be like your sister? And before you know it, how many years down the line, you discover that you have built a wall in your relationship. And you wake up one morning and you cannot recognize the child. And you're wondering what went wrong. Well, seed time and harvest. And that is why I appreciate meetings like this where we can learn and share. So what is emotional intelligence? It's your ability to recognize, to understand your own emotions. How can you manage your own emotions? And then it doesn't stop at you being able to recognize, understand, and manage your emotions, but being able to do that for other people, starting with your children. This is so important. We cannot live in denial. I cannot sit here and say, I don't recognize my emotions. When I'm going to start getting angry, when I feel anger welling up inside of me, I know that I'm getting angry. I know that what you said about me is getting me offended, and I don't like it. Do you understand? So wisdom demands that. Getting to that point, I am reminding myself that, Sandra, you need to find a way to regulate, because you are going to flare up any moment from now. I'll be living in denial if I tell myself that I don't understand that when I'm hungry, I can be more irritated, highly irritated, or when I'm pressed, or when somebody is whistling by my ear, or somebody is just tapping. You know, there are some children that if you're tapping like this, they'll be, in fact, they can cry. They're like, Mommy, stop making it. And you're wondering, which noise am I making? I'm just tapping, or I'm just do 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 do. Things like that drive some children nuts. Like they cannot, but when you don't understand, be like, but nobody's making a noise and all of that. Those children, when it comes to sensory, they are very high. They get easily stimulated and all of that. So as a person, if that is me, and I see somebody tapping by my side, I know that if this person does not stop tapping in the next 5 minutes, I'm going to get upset and I might say what I don't want to say. The best thing for me to carry my bag and leave that place. Or if it is something that I cannot, if it's a place that I cannot leave, I just find something to distract myself. That is me recognizing, understanding, and looking for a way to manage my emotions. And that is what we need to do. I know that when I go deeper now, some people might be like, I beg. Who has time to be doing all those ones? Like, really? Hello, after driving in traffic? I beg. But the truth is, I want you to understand. Every year is that many weeks? 52 weeks, right? So legally, they say when a child is 18, that's when the child is an adult. Please multiply 18 by 52 weeks. That is how much time you have with the child until they technically become an adult. And when you have your parenting goal before you, these are the things that should, help you regulate your actions. Like, it's not as if there's so much time to really build this child, right? Before they go out there and begin to navigate on their own. Let me just bear. Let me just be conscious. Let me just be cautious. Let me just carefully. Because we don't want to raise children who will need to recover from their childhood. There are so many people. I do family therapy. There are so many people, even people who are parents now, even grandparents, that are still regretting their childhood. And it has impacted their lives negatively. Some people have not recovered from it. And then some people will be saying, we turned out fine. They pulled our ears and we turned out fine. Please don't pull your children's ears and say they will turn out fine. Don't even try your luck with your children. Don't. Parenting is not trial and error. It's a big deal. The people that said they turned out fine, yeah, maybe they worked on themselves, maybe the Holy Spirit worked on them, but there are many people who grew up with that kind of toxicity who have not been able to rise up. What are you talking about? Is it words, the power of words? Some parents are not able to control their words. Once they are upset, that's part of emotional intelligence. They cannot even control what they are saying. They say everything. And then when they get to bed at night, they'll start crying and be regretting and say, oh God, I promised that I would not talk to this child anyhow today, and see what I've done. You are marking your child. You are marking them positively or negatively. And if you truly love them, any parent that truly loves their child should learn to regulate themselves. There's no midpoint. You have to learn to regulate yourself if you truly love your children, because trauma is real. It is real. I feel like saying praise the Lord. So this is what we're talking about. And when we're talking about emotional intelligence, we're looking at self-awareness, being able to understand your own emotions. How do your emotions impact your own thoughts, your own behavior, your child's behavior, the people in your home? How does your own emotions affect them? Are you that parent that because your day didn't go well, everybody must take, everybody must collect. Are you that parent that because, something went wrong at work, then, you carry that same load of emotions and you come home to dump it on every other person? Self-awareness. We need to be able to understand that our emotions have a great impact on the people in our sphere of influence, the people we are interacting with every day, especially our children in this occasion or in this context. That's self-awareness. Self-regulation is another pillar in emotional intelligence. How are you able, having understood all this, having understood your emotions and all of that, how are you now able to manage? How are you able to navigate in stressful situations? Because those situations will come. They will come. You will drive in traffic. There will be times where your day will not go as planned. So what would you do? Will the innocent children pay for all of those things? This is very important. You also need to understand that your emotions can either help you be positive, they can help you stay positive, or unmotivated. The choice is yours. It's your call. You can actually use your emotions as a tool. They can be a tool for you to stay positive and motivated, even when things get tough, or they can just leave you flat out. And when it comes to this, I want to quickly point out something. There's something I love to call the power of meaning. The power of meaning, where you are able to name that situation whatever you want. No matter how bad a situation is, you decide to give it your own meaning because you need to stay afloat. We can't say because this is how things are, then you want to get buried in those emotions or you want to get buried in all of those things that are happening. We have to find a way to still show up as our authentic self and still and not allow our children to act as if they are walking on eggshells when they're around us because we're having a bad day. So the power of meaning helps you rename your circumstance or your situation. For example, if somebody comes and says, oh, this thing is useless. This thing is useless. Or for some people that will call another person useless. Oh, that's your business, actually. You think I'm useless? Okay. Maybe it means that maybe you are not educated enough to know how to use me. Or if you think this phone is useless, maybe you can't read what is stated in the manual that came with the phone. That's a way of evading that negative energy that person is bringing. Sometimes when I counsel couples and they're like, one of the things that comes up most is, it's calling me useless, it's calling me useless. And this is one thing that I usually say, oh, give it your own meaning. Because if you bury yourself in that useless that is calling you, you will begin to feel useless. Maybe he does not know how to use you. Do you get it? So when it comes to your emotions, when they are all over the place, that is part of being emotionally intelligent. Because sometimes your children will talk back at you. Sometimes they will walk out on you. They will slam the door. No child has been sent to frustrate you. No child has been sent from the pit of hell. Sometimes I hear some parents say, who sent you? Oh God, what did we do to deserve it? No child came here to come and frustrate you. No, there's always a method to these things. So give those situations your own meaning. It helps you stay regulated. It helps you stay afloat. It helps you maintain positive energy around you. This is very important. Another pillar of emotional intelligence I'd like to talk about is being able to understand the emotions of others. A lot of parents don't, is it that they don't understand the emotions of their children or they pretend not to understand? And this is really not nice at all. Apart from us understanding and recognizing our emotions, we also need to intentionally decide to understand and recognize the emotions of our children. If we don't, who will? Who will? That's how parents push their children outside to go and meet people whose integrity you cannot vouch for. Who will? If we cannot take time out to settle down, to recognize and understand the emotions of your children, who will do it for you? Who will do it for you? This is so important. Let's not act like we were not once children. Let's not act like we didn't know what's up. Let's not act like we didn't have a crush when we were young. Let's not act like we didn't do stubborn head. We didn't have stubborn head when we were young. But over time, we have transitioned over and over again. We have grown, we have matured. So when children are displaying some of these things, these tantrums and all of that, we need to get into that position where we are understanding. We need to have empathy. We need to wear their shoes sometimes and see the world through their eyes. Because if you are not even able to see the world through their eyes, especially the Gen Zs, you cannot be on the same page. You will not be cool in their eyes. You're going to look for people that are cool. Let's stop acting like, oh, permit me to use this expression, like holier than thou and all of that. No, we were once children. We understand, even though the world in which we were raised does not exist anymore. But we know these things. Sometimes we find children doing their chores and some parents will not even acknowledge them. You saw them doing those things, right? But you decided to act. Is it not his work now to wash the plates? Is his work? Why should I now be greeting him or saying thank you? But when the child makes a mistake, we are very quick to call them out. No, we need to have empathy. That is part of being emotionally intelligent. When our children begin to see that we can put ourselves in their position, they will open up more. They will be more free to talk to us. The home will become a safe haven for them. This is very important. And then when it comes to emotional intelligence, we need to understand how to manage our connections, right? As, family, maybe the parent-child relationship. How are we communicating? There's so much conversation out there about your child should be your friend or your child should not be your best friend and all of that. Let's not major on the minor so that when the work of major comes, the children will even listen to us. Of course, you need to be your child's friend. Being your child's friend does not mean that there are no boundaries. I shared something recently on my page. I think it was yesterday. Boundaries. When it comes to boundaries, inconsistency and all of that, it's not because children don't want to listen or obey and all of that. There's a way to set boundaries. So there's no point saying you can't be your child's friend. No see finish will happen. If you are not your child's friend, who will be the child's friend? So part of emotional intelligence is also being able to manage effectively your emotional connections, right? This is so important. So how do you now, bring all of this into parenting? I want you to think about moments where your child was upset or your child was talking back at you and all of that. I don't know if I can see any chats anywhere. I would have loved this to be conversational. You have had that experience. There's no parent who will say they've never had that experience. When your child was really stepping on your...
on YouTube.
Okay. Please, can you just read out some of the responses?
Okay.
So let me ask the question, think about that time when your child was really upset, when your child was frustrated, maybe you gave them an instruction and, they didn't want to listen and all of that. Or you were calling them, you called them 5 times and they still did not stand up. What was your first response? What did you feel like doing? Were you calm? Did you feel angry? Did you feel frustrated? How did you feel?
Someone says angry.
Okay.
Very angry. Another person says I yelled.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Those are typical responses. Those are things that are normal, right? In our reality, right? The first thing you want to do is, hello, I'm talking to you. Why are you not responding? Or why are you talking back? And all of that. But like I said earlier, our goals should forever be before us, keeping us reminded of the reason why we are parents in the first place. We want to raise a wholesome child. We don't want to raise a child who grows up with toxicity. So an emotionally intelligent parent in that situation will not get angry. You can get angry, but you are going to pause because we don't want you to react. We want you to respond. So you are going to pause. Pausing can be that you will stand up and leave that. These are things that some people think are silly, but these are the things that work. Either you stand up, or either you go and grab a drink of water, or you count 1 to 10 from upwards or backwards, or you decide to hum a tune in your heart. You have to do something. If you keep shouting and shouting and showing that you are angry, whenever your child triggers you, that means you are programming them to do the same thing. And they will not just wait to go and do it outside. They will start from the house. They will do it to their sibling. And they will even now do it to you one day. So you need to count your costs. You need to ask yourself, in the long run, is this really what I want to see? Is this the report card I want to get? When you keep yourself reminded by asking yourself questions like that, it will help you understand that you need to step back from heated moments. Once you feel that anger welling up inside of you, pause. It doesn't mean you are weak. It actually shows that you are really, really strong. And you are also modeling something to your child. You are letting your child know that when you are in school or when you are out there and you are in a heated argument or a situation like this, learn to pause, learn to respond. Don't react. Learn to respond, not react. So if we are not, that was what I said earlier, parenting is leadership. It's easy to say, children respond, don't react. Are you responding? Are you responding? Very important. So no matter what our children do, our children are not adults. Even the teenagers, if they like, let them be taller than you and be seeing the middle of your head. They are not adults yet. Your own brain as an adult is fully formed. The upper part of the brain, which is responsible for rational thinking, is fully formed in you. So why are you allowing a child whose brain is not fully formed to drag you into a power struggle or a power tussle? These are the things that we should be asking ourselves. It looks difficult, but one step, one day at a time. Trust me, you can pull this off. Now, what is the power of self-awareness? I have highlighted some pillars when it comes to emotional intelligence, right? But I want to take them one at a time. I'm going to rush now because I see my time is really running. Self-awareness. I was talking about putting yourself in a position where you understand what's going on inside of you. You know that you're having a bad day. And if you go home like this, your children will take, they will collect. So what can you now do to, just let steam out? What can you do so that your children will not be the one at the receiving end, right? To parent effectively, you must know what triggers you. You must know it. For some people, hunger, once they are hungry, they can slap the next person. Some people, once they are pressed, until they relieve themselves, they are not saying, they can't hear what you are saying. Do you understand? So you need to understand what triggers you. For some people, if you look at them somehow, they feel disrespected. You speak to them a certain way. So you should know yourself. Write it out. These are the things that trigger me. When you are able to, journal these things or highlight these things, you are putting yourself in a position where you can say, yes, I truly want to help myself now. All of these things, don't leave them in your head, on your mind to say, I remember, write them down. Highlight the situations you're asking yourself. Number one, what are the things that trigger me? Number two, what are the things that make me feel overwhelmed? What are the things that when they happen, I feel like I'm falling apart? I feel like I can't take this anymore when this happens. When my child does this, oh, this floor that I just cleaned, oh my God. Or when my child comes back to tell me that, da, 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 da. Or they call you at school to say, this is what your child has done. Write every single thing that makes you feel overwhelmed. Even if it is your boss at work, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be just your children. What are the things that get you frustrated? You need to highlight these things. ask yourself, when do I notice that I begin to lose patience? When do I see myself losing patience? What can somebody do now that I know that, I can't take nonsense. I can't stand this. You need to highlight these things. That's the first step to helping yourself getting on that journey of being emotionally intelligent. You need to recognize this. Nobody will come and recognize them for you. Yeah, people can give you feedback that when they have noticed that when people talk to you like this, you lose control and all of that. Yeah, people can actually give you feedback, but you cannot be in denial. You know these things and you need to call them out. You need to highlight them and write them down. That's the first step in emotional intelligence. So if your child, for example, throws a tantrum, when you're in public, right? And you already know that, oh, I am going to descend on this child. Because you have already highlighted that one of the things that drives me nuts is when my child does this thing in public. And so because of that, you have already prepared ahead. This is not new to you. Because we are saying we cannot be emotionally intelligent. This child is provoking me. I can just yell. I can just beat. Okay, go to the office now. Let your boss provoke you and go and yell at him or slap him or beat him. You will have humility by force. In fact, you will wear humility like Agbada because you know the terrain you are in. You know that I need this job. I dare not. Even if I grumble in my mind, I have to control myself. Or if I bring my children, or let's say a VVIP, a high net worth individual brings their children to your home and they're like, please take care of these children for 1 week. We will give you $2 million if you take care of them successfully for 1 week. These children, they can give you stress, so they can stress you, but make sure you don't beat them. We have cameras everywhere. Just take care of them for 1 week. Yeah. Bye. And they go. The next morning, they poo on your bed. They come, they break your TV. You know that they are children of high net worth individuals. You dare not touch them, no matter how disciplined you are. Even if you are a parenting expert or you are the most calmest, whatever your personality type is, you know that there are cameras everywhere. You touch them, you're going down. Please, what will you do? What will you do? Will you come and say, he provoked me, when you know what is waiting for you? Beat them now. Beat them and go and enter the hot soup. Do you get it? So that humility, sorry, no, I don't want to use the word humility. That ability to restrain ourselves is actually there. It's in us. We just need to tap into it by being more intentional. You can't, if your boss, annoys you can't pull cloth and say you want to fight. How? You can't do that. But when it is our children, why do we feel that we can treat them that way? Do you understand? So we need to, when you are able to highlight these things, you can prepare ahead. This child now, he loves to throw tantrums when we're outside. But I cannot beat him outside. Even when we're inside, I cannot beat him. How am I going to handle this situation? And then you begin to, prepare yourself. That's a better way to respond instead of just reacting. And let me just quickly say this. Don't feel compelled to say, because we're outside and this child misbehaved, I need to discipline this child. And so that people looking will not say, madam, why are you spoiling the child? Please, parenting is not a competition. They are your children, not another man's children. Don't say because you are looking at what will people say? Because your child disgraced you outside, you now knock the child's head down. No way. Please don't do that. You are not, we need to be accountable, but don't say because of what people will say, you now begin to ill-treat your child. If you don't understand who children are, peace be unto you. Children will throw tantrums. Do you understand? So because you are now in public, the child now disgraced you in quotes, you now want to know, please. Yeah, I just thought to mention that. This is very important. So self-awareness is so key. You need to understand who you are. You need to understand what is triggering you. You need to understand the things that you cannot put up with. And those are the things that you even get to discuss with your children later when you're having your family meeting that mommy does not like these things. Daddy does not like these things. We need to find a way for you to stop doing them. This is very important. But until you are aware enough to document these things, it will just be moving around in your mind, and you'll be assuming that these children are supposed to know now that they're not supposed to treat me this way. They know that they're not supposed to make me shout. How would they know? Assumption is not it at all. This is very important. You need to understand that you have emotional responses. Our emotions are not bad. Even anger is not bad. It is an emotion, and we were created by God. What is bad is how we express anger, how we are able to, if we are still able to act in a civil manner when we are angry. That's the cocoa. Not that if I'm angry now, I'm the devil's child. No way. It's an emotion. Do you understand? We also need to understand that when it comes to being emotionally intelligent, what's your plan to regulate your emotions? What's your plan? I've talked about a few earlier. Is it that you're going to walk away? Is it that you're going to listen to music or something and all of that? Because the stressful situations will show up. There will be sibling rivalry, homework time, battle time for some families, chaos here and there, or one thing or the other, especially for parents who don't understand the personality of their children. So what are you going to do? You need to show up as a prepared parent. It's not every time these things happen that you now be looking for how to settle the matter, how to do this and do that. You need to prepare, you need to show up powerfully so that your children will know that, mommy is coming correct. Not that when every time your teenager slams the door, you start from beginning and all of that. This is very important. I'm rushing now. Then the part of empathy, being able to see the world through your child's eyes. Your child breaks her pencil and you're like, the child is crying, it's not small pencil. I have plenty pencil now. Come and take. No, you can't discard the child's feelings like that. That pencil, that particular one means the world to that child. You need to validate the child and let the child know that you understand how he feels. And that even though you're going to give him another pencil, you feel him, right? Because it's not just going to be about the pencil. They will come with bigger issues. So what are you going to do if you keep discarding their emotions that, you are invalidating their emotion? What's doing this one? Big boy like you crying, mommy, please. So when the big issues now come, you think they will come and meet you. Sorry, there are people who have devoted their time to have time for that child that you say you don't have time for. Their work is to really help take care of that child. And can you vouch for their integrity? Those groomers out there, do you know them? So please don't invalidate your child's emotions. If it is that pencil that is making them cry, let them understand that your pencil too was once broken when you were young, and you understand how they feel. Empathy goes a long way. It just endears your child to you. Very important. So quickly, as I wrap up, as an emotionally intelligent parent, it is not just about you now. How do you pass this on to your child? You also need to help your child become emotionally intelligent, because that is one of the skills that would distinguish them when it comes to their social relationships and all of that. What do? You have to teach them how to name their emotions. Some children, even preteens, preteens that are already shifting towards teens, like 11, 12, some of them cannot name their emotions. They cannot tell you how they are feeling. They just be crying, what is it? They cannot express themselves. So we need to teach our children how to name their emotions. Let them give it words, even if it is your own coded words in your family. How are you feeling? Are you feeling bish bish? So everybody knows that when we are feeling bish bish, that means I'm feeling angry. Put a name to it. Let them name their emotions. Let them express themselves so that they can tell you that this is how they're feeling. I'm wrapping up in 2 minutes. This is how we're feeling, right? This is so important, because when you now want to ask them questions, or when they want to talk to you, how are they going to talk to you if they cannot tell you what this person did to them, how that thing made them feel? How are they going to express themselves? Even when they are in situations where they are being bullied, how would they tell the bullies off? How would they tell them to their face that you're making me feel frustrated, I don't like it, stop it, right? This is so important. And then another thing you can do to help your child, become emotionally intelligent, like I said earlier, is role modeling what you do, how you handle your own emotions, right? And then you also need to teach them to self-regulate. Most times parents just jump in to say, oh, you don't even know what to do when you're, must you cry? Must you cry? Have you taught them coping skills? When they are feeling frustrated, which coping skills have you taught them to regulate? Okay, so when you are in a difficult situation, what do? Look up to the ceiling, begin to count the ceiling, or count from 1 to 100, from 100 to 1, or begin to squeeze your arms, or begin to hum, or do something. We need to teach them what to do to navigate situations like this. Now, I want you to understand that this looks like a Herculean task, but like I said earlier, it's one day at a time. Just follow the process that I outlined. All the things that are stressing you, your stressors, your triggers, everything, outline them, and then begin to ask yourself, prepare yourself ahead of time. What should I do in this kind of situation? Knowing that in the long run, whether I react this way or that way, it's a seed I'm sowing into my child's life. I want you to understand that emotional intelligence will make your home a more safer place. Children are faced with so much today. I tell you, I work with them every time. They are faced with the best thing you can do for your child is to keep them close to you, is not to push them away. Do not push them away. Even the little things you are doing that you think they don't mean anything, trust me, they are leaving indelible imprints in their lives, in their hearts. And when they get to the crossroads where they need to make decisions, those are the thoughts that come to their mind. I should not do bad thing. I should try this thing. Even the mom herself, whenever I tell her something, she will go and tell everybody during dinner what I told her in private. She will go and announce it to everybody. So why should I? Well, okay, let's go to where you said we should go. When it is time to make decisions, they will be recalling everything that you have been doing, how you receive them, when they want to tell you things, how you react. Do you shush them? Do you invalidate their emotions? Those are the things that would determine, no matter what you have taught them, whether they will make the right decision or not. So for you to be an emotionally intelligent parent, you are doing this for your own good, for the good of your children, and so that at the end of the day, your efforts will not be in vain. Because you might be doing well in every other area, but you see that emotional intelligence, it is a pillar that holds the center. So let me stop here and see if there are any questions I can answer.
Wow, the session has been so impactful. Thank you so much. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
This has been so impactful. Some of the nuggets from this session, whatever you do is programming and you will get your report card. Your goal as a parent has to always be in your face. Parenting is leadership. And also you talked about the power of meaning. Give a situation a meaning, your own meaning. Decide what you call it. And then the question is, how do we set boundaries? But before you answer that, let me still go down. And then how can you find your children's personalities? How are you able to know what the personality of your child is so that you know how to parent them differently from the others? Then you also said that empathy goes a long way. Empathy, goes a long way. And then you said we need to let them know, we need to let them give their emotions a name or names. They have to learn how to give their emotions names. And we must role model for our children what we want to see them emulate. We must teach them self-regulation, and we must also regulate ourselves. We must teach them coping skills as well, what to do when they're anxious, how to, regulate those emotions. And finally, emotional intelligence will make your home a safer place. So you see, my notes is full. So now, how do we set boundaries? How do you set boundaries?
Okay. Okay, so you have to first look at what your reality is, because every home has their own reality. You might be a 9 to 5er. This person might be one who works from home. This person might be one who is only home on weekends. So we have different realities, and you want to work according to your own reality. So when it comes to boundaries, there are different boundaries, different kinds of boundaries. But I would address like the general one when it comes to discipline, for example. Um, so a lot of parents, when it comes to discipline, we know that the go-to method is bass goals and maybe just some form of punitive punishment and all of that. But we also need to understand that your discipline strategy is not just the beating or the yelling that you make out on the child. Your discipline strategy is a couple of things that you do. For example, in your discipline strategy, you have your
Okay, um I think network threw her out. Yes. So she was talking about, knowing your reality in order to be able to set boundaries, in order to be able to do what you need to do in terms of setting boundaries. So let me know in the comment section, are you able to set boundaries in your home? Have you set boundaries? Because one of the ways I know that um, you can set good boundaries is communication. Communicate to understand. Sometimes you just say, don't do this. If you do this, I'll flog you. That's not communication. What happened to the wife? Why they should not do it? You explain it age appropriately. Don't do this because this. You give reasons for certain, you know, the boundaries, the boundaries in your home. Okay, Sandra is back. Okay, please go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud.
Okay, so the light went off. Sorry about that. So it's a couple of things that you do. For example, you have your what's it called? Your rules and your consequences. Like I said earlier, sometimes parents just assume that children should know what to do. We need to actually tell them what to do and make it as clear as possible. Once you have your rules and your consequences, within that bandwidth is where your boundaries are. Within the bandwidth of your rules and your consequences, that's where the boundaries are, because you have made the rules. If they don't cross the line, if they don't go against the rules, then why are you giving them consequences? So for there to be consequences, if I say the rule is that when you are being spoken to, you don't slam the door. If you walk away and you slam the door, this is what we are going to do. And this is a rule and consequence that I'm not just going to set it on my own. It's always better when you do it together as a family. So they already know. Now, in that simple rule and consequence, you already know that the boundary is you walking away and slamming the door. As simple as that. That's how you formulate your boundaries for whatever you want to, whether it's in their relationships or their social relationships, whatever. Once you have your rules and you have your consequences when they cross the line, that line that they are crossing is your boundary. So apply this to your own reality. based on how your household is or how your family is. So that's for that. I
Yeah,
hope that's
yeah, that is so on point. So about the personality,
okay.
how you
So,
able
but that one is not something that, for example, for the work I do, I work with a lot of families, even from with other cultures. Like I'm not even talking about Nigerians now, from other cultures. And we don't, one of the things you must do as a professional is not to use native intelligence, right? So when we're doing this personality thing, it's based on assessment purely. So if you come to me to say, oh, my child, what's this best? I will place you, I'll do assessments. So that we have assessments that will, my assessments, in fact, sometimes when some people are like, are you a prophet? Like up to 96% accuracy, right? So it's not something that I can say, it's not something I can
share
say,
the
oh, what do you
assessment?
say?
I said, can you share the assessment with us? That would be awesome.
No, no, I can't because it's a professional tool. It's not, it's just like it's just like when you are what's the example I can give now? Like, okay, so let me use this example, but this is not the example I want to use, and this is not what I mean, but it just gives you a picture. It's just like when you give a car key to a child, do you understand? To drive. That's not what I mean, but it's something like that. Do you understand?
So
Yeah. So it's
it's
not something that it's not a tool that you can just throw around. Do you understand?
oh, I
Yeah.
see.
Yes. But understanding your child's personality is something that, is really good for every parent to have an idea of. And it is something that will really change your game, your parenting game and all of that. So yeah, I what I can do, the best that I can do is when I organize like a group, because it's usually one-on-one, it's usually tailor-made for, families. So before the year comes to an end, I want to do something, for families who are not able to do the one-on-one. Do you understand? Where we can have, this assessment. So what I can do is to let you know when that time comes and we see how it goes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I'll be looking forward to it. I'm sure a lot of people who are joining will also be looking forward to it. And it's a wrap from here. Thank you so much. This has been really impactful.
You're welcome.
Um, I'm looking forward to, this assessment. I believe that it will really help it will bring a lot of clarity to so many parents on the call and people who are going to watch afterwards, right? So thank you so much. And I hope that for as many who have joined this session tonight, you have become more enlightened on how you will be an emotionally intelligent parent. And that's
Thank
all for
you.
me.
Thank you
Thank
so much. Thank you, Diane, for inviting me to speak at this workshop. And thank you so much to all the amazing parents on the call and for those who are going to watch the replay. Thank you so much for being here. And I hope you would implement, everything that we talked about. That's the most important thing. Yeah, so thank you. And I wish you the very best in your parenting journey.
Yes, thank you.
And
Thank
you
you.
can also follow my page, for I share tips liberally. So you
Yeah.
can follow on YouTube or just there's so much to learn. It's an
So
ongoing journey. Yeah.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Thank you so much, Sandra. Always a pleasure to catch up with you. And and it's a wrap from us tonight. See you tomorrow. Tomorrow,
Bye.
bye-bye. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about something really, really fantastic. Childhood trauma. this is a build-up, right? Sandra made mention of it. Some people who were raised in certain ways and it's still affecting them at this particular time. They are 50, they are 70, they are 80, they are 30, and they don't realize that, the way they are acting is as a result of, things that were deposited in them as children. So tomorrow, we are going to be looking at a topic I love so much because from that topic, it's going to be an eye opener. Childhood trauma. And our facilitator has done a lot of work in this area. And I know, you see the build up, we started with godly parenting, and then we've looked at the emotionally intelligent parent, and then we're looking at childhood trauma just to unbox, to help you see, we're painting a picture, and I hope that you will not miss it tomorrow. Invite someone and come prepared to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And that's a wrap from us tonight. Thank you for joining, and see you same time tomorrow. God bless you and have a good night.